All right, Michelle, we are on episode one, season four, covering the first of many Spielberg movies in this season. What did we think of Jurassic Park? What were your first memories of watching this movie, if any?
I can't believe I'm saying this because there are so many millennials who, consider this to be like a beloved film from the 90s. But I can't tell you when I saw this movie for the first time, but I can tell you that I've probably only seen it three, maybe four times, and that includes our most recent rewatch. I'm really reaching here, Laura, because I definitely don't have the connection to this movie that I think other people from our generation have. So my only other experiences with Jurassic Park, I have three. One, I saw Jurassic Park 3 in like a midnight showing that a friend dragged me to. And I remember kind of being like, why do we have to go to this first showing? I'm not into this. I don't even think that I've seen the first one. And by the way, I thought that that one sucked. So I probably wasn't so inclined to like go revisit the old ones. And then more recently, last summer, Jimmy and I saw Jurassic Park: Dominion
It's
colon
important.
at our beloved Wellfleet Drive-In out on Cape Cod. And I feel like anyone who's listening to this like already hates me just for saying that I don't have these core memories of the movie, but I will also go on to say that I thought that Jurassic Park: Dominion was great. I enjoyed it. It was a great experience. I don't know if it was just, the magic of being at a drive-in, but I thought that the movie was really good. And then outside of those two, my other association with this movie is the theme park rides, which were so kind of like primed to be a fun experience for anyone who visits Universal. And I think it's at both the Orlando and the Hollywood locations. But I've had the most interactions with this film franchise is in the theme parks.
Yeah, I mean, this came out before I was born, so I've seen it a lot. I've definitely seen it more than three or four times. I think it was an ongoing watch for me in when I was younger. But one of my core memories is the theme park too from Universal. When I think I was probably about seven. We did a 2-week trip down the coast of California. We went to Universal. And I remember getting absolutely drenched on that ride, but it was also the middle of the summer, so it was really hot, and I couldn't distinguish what was like hot, like Jurassic Park gross park water or sweat. But ever since I was younger, I've always loved rides and roller coasters. So I think the excitement that I felt as a child going on that ride was like the excitement I feel when I rewatch this, because it's just such a exciting and equally scary movie, which I'm sure we'll get into. But beyond that, it's such like a cultural movie for our age group, regardless if you're my age or Michelle's age, because even though this came out the year that I was born, one of the first things I always think of with this is in high school, we had Spirit Week every winter, and it was basically a competition between all of the grades. Each grade was able to come up with a team name or theme. And Lisa, our sister, her and I are 4 years apart, but when her junior year of high school, they were the Jurassic Juniors. And as part of this, in addition to decorating their hallways and having all these competitions, they had these t-shirts made that was like the Jurassic Park logo. And it was such a cool shirt. It was jet black. It was like the red writing. And we would always share clothes. So when I was in high school, I have this photo of me, which is very like Sam Neill-esque in his Alan character, where I have these aviator sunglasses on and I'm wearing the Jurassic Junior shirt, which is false advertising because I was not in the winning grade of that Spirit Week. But I have that as my Facebook profile picture. And
Wow.
I'm sure like everyone who saw that photo, like everyone knows what Jurassic Park is. Like so it just feels very like woven into our childhood, a movie that really is for all ages, but not I would not think of this as a movie that I would bring my elementary school child to. It's really scary. I would not want them staying up and having nightmares from it. But it's I think the idea of like dinosaurs for children is just such I think it's why we were allowed to watch it and why it was just like accepted that it was a scary movie, but I was, you bring your kids to see. I always find it really interesting that dinosaurs are considered like a cute thing for kids because if it was like current day, it would be such a terrifying, like as shown in this movie, such a terrifying things for things that kids do that are for kids, but like it's incorporated in baby rooms and in pajamas, and we think it's such a personality trait of a 5-year-old to be able to like rattle off dinosaur facts. But I think maybe, and I think that's been such like an animation or quote unquote not a mythical creature, but something that's always been top of mind for like children when we were younger too. So again, I think this is just like a type of movie that it's like, ooh, dinosaurs. It's cool and exciting for adults who love Jeff Goldblum, but also children who know about herbivores.
That's really confusing messaging for children, right? Like dinosaurs are so cute. It reminds me of that Brian Regan joke about like teaching kids that like bears are so friendly. Like, why don't you go up and give them a big hug?
It's not harmful because they're not around
Yeah.
anymore. Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of part of the whole crux of this movie that all these people are so in love with dinosaurs and have an obsession with them, but then when they're actually put on the same ground as them, they know all of the harmful things that they can do. I've never fully understood it.
Yeah, I'm really curious to hear from all the millennials who seem to love this movie so much and seem to have such like a deep connection to it because I was 9 or 10 years old when this movie came out in 1993, and I know that you said that you watched this when you were in elementary school, but there's no way that mom and dad would have let me see this at that age. And I guess I'm just curious for everyone who has like a strong connection to this movie. Did you see this like when you were a little kid? Like, did the Jurassic Juniors all see this when they were like, 3 years old and have
Yeah.
this like core memory of it? Or is this something that was more of a, like a rewatch on TV, or like, did you have the tape or the
I
DVD?
think, yeah, again, I don't have a core memory. I'd be curious to what our two other sisters would say since they're in the middle age groups between us. But I think this is such a rewatch movie that was probably always on TV. I sadly have not seen this, or to my memory, I don't think I've seen this on the big screen, but I was thinking so much while watching this would be such an awesome movie to see in the theater because it's meant to see on a big screen. It's not supposed to be watching from your couch, but I think for most people, it was probably a channel flipper. Jurassic Park's on. I'm going to watch it. And I don't know about like the allowance. Like, I think is this is rated PG-13 for sure.
Yeah, I think that
Okay.
it's definitely a like I wouldn't call it a family movie. I don't even know that I would call it an all ages movie, and I don't think that that's what Spielberg set out to create. I think prior to this he did Jaws and he did E.T., and even though the E.T. has kids in it, I don't even think that he created any of those with children in mind. I think that he just wanted to make a movie, and the fact that maybe that there are kids in it, or maybe it's like as you
Yeah.
described this dinosaur phenomenon, the people are like, oh, there are dinosaurs in it, like let me show this to my kids. I know you already said this, that you wouldn't let your kids see this, but like, would Allison or Lisa let their kids see this movie at their ages? Our oldest nephew is almost 7. No
No,
way,
I
right?
really don't think so. I would have nightmares, truly. But I don't know. I wish I could like dig back and really know the first time I sat down and watched this. But I'm sure we'll get into this in scenes we don't like. But there are specific moments throughout this movie that really still scare me. They're spooky.
Yeah, and I imagine that even on, especially on a big screen in the dark, I think I would have been terrified at certain points. Yeah.
Definitely not as scary as Jaws because it's a little bit more not.
There are sharks out there in our world.
There are sharks, not dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I just want to hang with the herbivores and the dying one.
Oh, don't!
You're
already okay.
I'm already bringing up emotions. All right. So last night, Michelle sent me a very cryptic text, which was not so cryptic because I know her games and I know when she doesn't like a movie. So we were talking about how in the future we should just split renting these films because every time we have to rewatch a movie, if it's not available, we both have to rent it. And I don't know why we've both been renting it. But she said, disclaimer with like the zippered mouth emoji. I'm happy I didn't buy it. And I was like, wow, okay, really spicing things up before we've even recorded this episode. But anyway, I think we'll start with the good things because there's got to be some things that you like about this. So what were some of your highlights of Jurassic Park? Not Dominion, but
the Ridge.
The Ridge, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll start this off by saying, like, don't think this is going to be another Notebook situation.
Oh, I can't take another one. I can't.
As much as there were a lot of things in this movie that I didn't personally enjoy, I think that this is a fantastic movie. I feel like it's a really strong, good choice for us to be kicking off our summer of Spielberg. And I would say that the thing that I loved most about it was the timelessness of it. Even though when this movie was made, we were kind of on the brink of some like new movie magic, new movie technology, that I felt like this was one of the first movies that used that technology and pulled it off. Everyone has the strong ties of this being so rooted in the 90s, but I feel like it's a movie that really holds up today. It doesn't feel outdated. At no point was I distracted or taken out of it. If anything, I'm still impressed by all the special effects and how Spielberg was able to create this world with creatures that look, I mean, we have no reference because we've never seen real dinosaurs in real life, but a depiction of what we were taught dinosaurs look like. And I just have to commend him. I think this movie is so impressive.
This movie is so meant for the big screen to really appreciate it because as I was rewatching this, I just could not stop thinking about how incredible the effects are. And that's very much not my world. I'm always paying attention to symbolism and writing every time I watch a movie. And I didn't even miss that while rewatching this because you're just so drawn in by the excitement. I could not get over the fact that this is made in the 90s because it's so well done. I feel like it's obviously we've gone above and beyond in terms of what we can do in movies today in terms of special effects, but I still think it's remarkable. Beyond that, maybe it feels so timeless to you because 90s fashion is back. I feel like people are definitely wearing the Laura Dern oversized t-shirts and digging shorts and boots, honestly, which are probably only okay with the shirt because I can tell you're trying to mimic her today.
I'm trying. If we're gonna get a little bit more micro, her digging outfit that she wears in the beginning, which is a button-up denim tucked into very, I would say 90s denim jeans, but really 2020s denim jeans because they're back. And she looks so fabulous. She's digging in dirt, but she looks so sophisticated at the same time. And I was just curious why she didn't continue with that look. I wasn't as fond of the kind of like the pink button down that she wears for most of the movie. I guess for some reason, Alan decides to steal her shirt, and then he takes over like the denim representation. But
She was the only one that didn't have to get all muddy. So
that's true.
I feel like we're so drawn in by her because she looked the most put together, but it's just so happens how her plot line fell in the movie. For anyone not watching this on video, I am wearing a lovely white button down, which has no connection to the movie other than the fact that I'm calling this the shirt that you would never want to wear when you're stuck on a cable car in Jurassic Park in a Costa Rican rain hyphen under a vehicle being crushed by a T-Rex. Like literally the last shirt. It's like a silk unique low, not silk, but like cotton
it's crisp.
Unique low. Crisp.
There's not a stain on it.
People at work have been calling, or I guess I've been calling this in my head, my like Shio shirt. So definitely not something you want to be wearing when you're tucked under a car like Timmy was.
No, I mean, you would never be able to get that dry cleaned on the island.
No,
I don't think.
No.
I mean,
I don't know. They were eating some bougie food and they had a lot of tech. Hammond is not having any issues in the money department, so I feel like I feel like he had a washer and dryer in his room. But he probably wears the same 3 outfits.
I thought that when you first came on screen, I thought that this was your ode to Hammond. His very like white.
Feels very pirate-esque. Like what a pirate would wear underneath a vest. I do wish that I had the Jurassic Junior shirt. I bet you that Mom has it somewhere in one of the closets because we don't throw away t-shirts in our family. It's
a thing.
It's definitely made its way. Either that or it's like with another family member because we just pass off bags to random people in our family. So whoever has the Jurassic tee, in addition to sharing your favorite memories, if you have the Jurassic Juniors t-shirt, you can put out some bids for it.
Yes. Well, we'll definitely share in our video version on YouTube. We'll share a picture of the Jurassic Junior, your old profile pic from Facebook, the Jurassic Juniors t-shirt.
To bring it back. I just bring it back as my Instagram picture.
Maybe it could be like a summer look for you.
I think so. It was taken on Cape Cod, so
even better. Did Lisa design this shirt?
I don't know. We'll have to confirm. I feel like she had a hand in it.
She definitely.
She had a hand.
She definitely had a hand in it. And we'll also post some pictures if I can find it. But in my head, there are 2 pictures that exist. One of us, the 4 sisters, and Dad after riding Jurassic Park. So
with the wet tees.
Yeah, so we can see. I mean, it's not that kind of wet tee photo, but you can kind of weigh in as to whether Laura is, soaked or sweaty. And then I also have a picture. I think at Universal they have this kind of head, like dinosaur head. What kind of heads? Like right after you come out of the ride that a lot of people take a picture in front of. And I'm pretty sure I also have a picture with Jimmy's family after, or maybe it's just me and Jimmy after riding it. So I'll dig up as many Jurassic Park theme park photos that I can find.
So much JP content. Who knew? Michelle?
I'm really digging.
She has like every photo. Like if she just wanted to put everyone on blast, she's the keeper of keys with the family photos. So don't piss her off. She'll come after you.
That's right.
Sweaty Jurassic Park. I didn't even know she had this. She didn't even mention this when I first mentioned getting soaked on the ride. So yeah, but anyway, our girl Laura, we need to take a moment. We have to take a couple moments and appreciate her because, first of all, love her name. Ellie fits her so well. I love that she holds her own in this movie. She's not thrown as like the classic like female character in this movie that doesn't get to shine. I am insanely jealous that she got out of the entire cable car debacle in the rain, but I feel like it gave us moments to kind of see her doing other things and trying to like act as the savior, which was kind of cool. but she's so great in this movie. I love her and everything, but I feel like this like kicked off my Laura Dern love.
Yeah, no,
She's
she
a great name too.
her
Just
yeah, her
saying.
real name. Yeah, she was one of my favorite parts of this movie, and I think I couldn't really articulate it, but I think that you just nailed it in that she's not your typical female character. And what's great about her in this, or what's great about the character of Ellie, is that she's definitely like a very strong female character, but she also, they don't make her like lose kind of like the softer feminine side of her. Like she really encompasses all of it and is able to pull it off. Because I think a lot of times in movies, when they try to create these like really strong female characters, like they're never allowed to show any, like emotion or compassion. And we see so much of that in this movie. And I think some of those are my favorite scenes, including, when she goes to tend to the wounded dinosaur. I mean,
No.
hard to watch, but also like that was the scene that I remembered most in this rewatch. For whatever reason,
Yeah.
that stayed with me.
Yeah, I feel like we get a lot of tender moments of her, but I kind of felt like we got to know her as a character just as an individual and not like the girlfriend
Yeah.
of Sam's character, Alan. Like she very much we get to she's very intelligent. She knows her craft really well. I'm so and I don't want to give away like my absolute number one scene, but I feel like that scene it really is so powerful because she's so overcome with emotion and it feels very natural. It doesn't feel forced. But then we also get these, cute moments with her where she's like teasing Alan for just being Alan.
Being Ellen.
She's portrayed, I think, as a very like character that gets along with everyone and isn't, but also like can hold her own and is like trying to fight or save people. So I don't know. I think what I'm trying to say is she's a very like well balanced
Yes.
character and very likable, but not like she's not over the top like Jeff Goldblum,
Yeah.
who we also need to talk about, but she's not wearing a leather jacket. She's kicking it with her button downs, which we love. What are your thoughts on Malcolm? Dr. Malcolm. Lots of doctors in this movie.
Doctor. Yes. Dr. Ian Malcolm, played by the great Jeff Goldblum. I feel like he's the easy choice for best character in this movie. I just there is a line in there, something about you bring scientists and I brought a rock star. I'm assuming that his character is in the book in which this movie is based on, but it's just like such a fun idea to bring in this character that you would not picture being part of like anything scientific or part of this like dinosaur expedition.
Yeah, and he's like remains mysterious in a way because everything that he responds with, he kind of responds back with a question to like make himself seem more self-absorbed and more interesting. But we have a lot of intimate moments throughout this movie, and I think that's why I enjoy it so much because among all the action, all of these characters are completely different, but they're put in these insane circumstances where they need to survive together or die. And he, I don't know what your thoughts are on kind of like the Ellie Alan dynamic, but they're definitely together, but like I think that their common bond is really just dinosaurs and Alan just has his head like so focused on dinosaurs that Ellie kind of feels like an afterthought. Like it's implied he really cares about her. They have this beautiful relationship, but I like the scene because it's kind of weird. It's kind of feels disjointed, but Malcolm says to Alan's character, "So what's the deal? Like, are you guys together?" Because even I genuinely think that he couldn't tell. I don't think that he was trying to come off as funny. And Alan's character's like, "Yeah, we're together. Like, obviously we're together." But
But I don't know. Again, audience, please weigh in, come comment on this video on YouTube or leave us a message on Instagram. But I'm not convinced that they are together. Like there were signs in the beginning, like, one of them calls the other one honey. There's definitely some, like, physical touch that makes it seem like maybe they're together, but like we never see them kiss, I don't think, in the entire movie. And can you not see a scenario where Jeff Goldblum asks him that and he's just like, yeah, we're together, because he's trying to like protect her from this guy who he thinks is a creep?
Yeah, I mean, the entire scene where he's pouring water on her hand, like as a significant other, you don't care. And she's like, I don't know, I think she thinks it's funny, but she even says to Alan, like, Alan, look at this, like, save me from this situation, kind of. So I don't know. But again, I don't think that the light is really shown. It's not a love story. This is an action-packed film that's supposed to, I think that all of the characters in it really get their moments. Like, I think, and I'm sure you feel this way, but like, I want like more of Malcolm because he's
Yeah.
so absurd. He's so over the top. I could listen to Jeff Goldblum speak all day. He's so ridiculous. But I think this movie is very balanced. Like, all of the characters get their moments and it's very equal. It's not like the whole movie is about Alan. Obviously, he's, the protagonist, but and is kind of like the savior of the kids, and he has such like a character change from someone who like hates children to like, falling in love with them. So we see the most change with him. But I think that it's very well balanced. Like, we get a lot of moments with Dennis, which we will get into. We get a lot of moments with John's character, and we get to know them really well, but it's not like all focused on Ellie or all focused on Alan. And I think that's what works. I think that is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I agree. I enjoy that aspect of it too. But I have to say, my only like small complaint with Ian Malcolm's character, despite the fact that he's definitely the shiniest character in the movie, and maybe one of the most interesting, we can make that argument. I almost like I wanted him to be even more over the top. I think the more we podcast about movies, the more I'm realizing how much I love characters that are like really, cartoons, but real life, just like completely over the top. I think it's one of the reasons that I love like Marvelous Mrs. Maisel so much, is that all of those characters are like, they're so ridiculous that they're not relatable as like people in real life. And I felt like they had this real opportunity with Dr. Ian Malcolm to, to have this absurd character as part of the story. And I don't know, it felt like a little flat for me. I was expecting more over the topness.
I think it's probably because there are people like him. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it wasn't so, like I said, he was so over the top, but they probably could have turned it up a notch even a little bit so that it wasn't probably relatable. I don't know.
Did you get like Uncle Jesse vibes? Do you think that he was like inspo for
A
this
little.
character?
No, because I don't know. I didn't find him charming. I thought he was just like ridiculous. That's the
I
only
think
way I
that
could
he
really
thinks
describe.
he was charming.
Oh yeah. He's the most self-absorbed character in this movie, but probably in many movies we're gonna cover in this series. But yeah, but I think it just I personally think it worked. I think it would have been a different movie if it was like all of his scenes were like, because there's so many things that they needed to fit in and explain and give background on, that I don't think that there was enough time to make it more of like hilarious moments with Malcolm.
Yeah.
Like, they needed the action and all the other things that they were trying to do with this movie.
I'm definitely trying to rewrite this as a movie that would be more appealing to me. I'm like, but what about the love triangle? What
What
are
if it
they
was a
are they together?
rom-com?
And then yeah. Yeah, I think that I would enjoy this movie a lot more probably without the dinosaurs in it. But
Who do you think you resonated most with of this crew? Oh God.
I'm embarrassed to say, but I couldn't help but to finds the character of, it's Gennaro, I think his last name is.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know what his first name is,
But
but
essentially, like the character who's there to kind of like poke holes in the operation. I don't even know what he's supposed to be. Is he supposed to be kind of like
he's a lawyer.
he's a lawyer? Okay.
Yeah.
I liked his look. He had that, like, the cabana hat. He, even though they're in Costa Rica, he's in like a tie, but I love how, like, on like day 2, he was already like, oh, this is too much. Then he puts on those shorts, but he's like still wearing the like the suit on top, which is ridiculous. But yeah, I kept thinking, like, if I was on this island, like, this guy would know where to find a cappuccino.
Classic first child comment. Like, oh my God. He has the most nervous energy. I think he was drinking cappuccinos too many, because he was making me nervous from the minute we met him, when they're on the helicopter and they're landing and he's like freaking out. And like, this is the last person I would want on a plane with me if the plane was going down. And he abandoned Lex and Tim. So apparently Michelle she is running away from danger and not thinking about other people.
Yeah, that sounds exactly like me.
Running into the nearest bathroom.
Yeah.
So you would die in a toilet with no honor, because I mean, Lex is that character, that actress is probably still waking up with nightmares every night saying he left us. She has abandonment issues from Gennaro.
Probably. But like, don't you think in some way you described him perfectly. He has this like really nervous energy, but like, how would you be if you went to go on this island where they have real dinosaurs? Tell me one person that would not be nervous.
I would be right. And then brought under false pretenses, because none of them are worn. I would have immediately, when I got there, I would take the boat back.
Yeah.
And go hang out in Costa Rica. Like, yeah. I'm out. I'm out of there.
I think he's an underrated character. I think we need to give him a little more credit. He's very relatable.
I'm telling you, he's great, because he rounded it all out. We have like the Joker, suave man. You have like the savior. You have the dumb fool, kind of, who gets lost, and then you have like the innocence. Again, very well-rounded cast, well-rounded storyline. Just great job by multiple people.
I feel like we have to talk about Hammond, because I know I said before that Jeff Goldblum's character was interesting, but I think the Hammond is the most complicated character. I found myself relating to him, from being a creative perspective, and like really understanding what it's like to have this idea that you're so excited about, and you have this vision that you just want to share with people and you want other people to be excited about. But having this tunnel vision and just, completely disregarding all of the things that might go wrong, or disregarding the fact that like you're not always able to execute exactly what your vision is. So then it also left me feeling bad for him, but then also being annoyed with him. Like let's just be reasonable here. Like,
yeah, I mean, he's testing out his toys on his grandchildren. Red flag.
Yeah, that was a poor choice.
Maybe we don't try and develop a nurturing relationship with a velociraptor. Because
weird. That was weird.
Natural born killers. I mean, I get his intention. He's like, I was with all of them when they were born. I mean, it's truly like his babies. But yeah, he's a very complicated character. I agree. He's like, you like feel for him because look at what he created, but I'm going to give him like a D, maybe an F.
As a person?
Not a great person. No. Pretty selfish. I think if he was creating something a little less dangerous, like a wooden roller coaster, I might give him a pass, but
So I've not done the research to see. I'm guessing that maybe this actor isn't alive anymore. He did not appear in Jurassic Park: Dominion. Do you know, was he in Jurassic Park 2? I don't remember him being in Jurassic Park 3.
I remember Jurassic Park 2. I have Have you seen it? Is this the
I
one you
don't,
saw at the midnight showing?
I think I saw the third one.
Okay. Because I was thinking this is a good setup for when the shaving cream bottle gets buried under the
Mm-hmm.
mud as a good
Like,
starter for the second movie.
yeah, is that what they
Yeah.
did?
I don't know. Any Jurassic Park fans, let us know. We'll have to look it up
I
after this.
would, I would appreciate that. I
Yeah.
like
Very smart.
your
Yeah.
screenwriter minds. You're like, they should do something with
There's
that.
there's not too much symbolism I could go off of in this movie, so I was trying to dig deep for other things to pay attention to.
Did you, I know you said that you were like so swept up in like, the action and the adventure, which is what this movie is supposed to be. But did you like the script?
I didn't really pay attention to it just because it's so I think it just worked. Like I didn't find moments that I was like, "Oh, this is cheesy." I think it's so focused on the action, but I think if it was a cringy screenplay, like it doesn't need to be an A+ screenplay in my mind. It just needs to be good so that it fits in. If it's really bad and I notice it, then I probably wouldn't have enjoyed as much, but I think that the delivery of all of the actors was great. Again, it felt like a very balanced movie to me, and I was more drawn in by the exciting scenes and being able to just enjoy it as a pure viewer. It's always nice having movies like these, and I think that's why I have been so excited to do this season because so much of these movies were dissecting and writing down little details, but I found myself rewatching this and not writing down much and just purely enjoying it as a viewer. But I think other than that, like if you just think about the things that worked, John Williams,
Oh, yeah. How do we not bring that up
iconic music.
immediately?
I mean, just talk about like cultural references. When you hear that, you know exactly what it's from. How awesome is that you're associated? We have a lot of John Williams scores on this podcast, but I felt such a sense of excitement when they're landing on the helicopter pad when they first arrived to Jurassic Park and they start playing the Jurassic Park theme song. And I was like, oh my God, it's happening. We're here. We're landing. We don't have seatbelts on. I'm ready. Talk about this is a good foreshadowing for the rest of the movie. Seatbelts will not be present in any part of the rest of the movie, so don't strap in. Seatbelts not available.
We spent all our time developing all this merch before we worried about the safety of the park.
I am really upset that we didn't start this conversation with Samuel L. Jackson and having the cigarette just part of his character.
Attached to his mouth.
Him.
Yeah.
And, as I wouldn't say I'm like the ultimate Star Wars junkie. We're also recording this on May the 4th. So May the 4th be with all of our Star Wars fans out there. But he works so well in this environment and these types of movies because he's such a strong actor. But I think it just makes sense that he's cast in these types of movies because he just crushes it. I just, what is his iconic line in this?
Hold on to your butts.
Hold on to your butts. This is actually the meme that Michelle sent me last night when I was getting a little nervous. But I have to say, this for a movie that you quote unquote didn't like, this is a pretty positive section.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think we had a lot of, again, very balanced. I think there's probably a good balance of things we liked and we didn't like. Okay, I am not going to wait for you to ask me, and I'm going to get right to it and tell you the things that I hated about this movie.
Wow, I wasn't expecting you to be so passionate about the what did we hate section.
So there are a couple of things that just set me off in movies and TV shows.
Okay, tell me.
And typically it's rooted in characters that make me want to shut it off because they're so obnoxious. And I am putting Lex, the granddaughter, at the tippy top of my list. Cannot stand this girl. Cannot watch her in this movie. Tim is portrayed as the quote unquote like annoying younger brother. She is the worst. Specifically, Starting with the fact that she turned on the flashlight in the car because she needs to get right out. Honestly, I'm gonna rescind my comment earlier. I support Gennaro running out of the car because he knew that she was gonna kill them. Is she okay? Like, I don't understand what her thought process was. Could she not see? Like, was she trying to signal Alan to come and save them? But I feel like I've probably said this line I quote unquote cannot express enough, but I cannot express enough to you how much I almost shut up. I almost shut off the movie last night when I was watching this scene. Many poor choices.
But the thing that stuck out to me the most, and I wouldn't say that it annoyed me more as like I was amused by it. We talked in another episode, I want to say maybe it was Home Alone 3. It must have been something else from the 90s, but these two kids look like they were plucked out of a commercial from the 90s. They have all the commercials for like kids' toys and like snacks, like I think we referenced Gushers in our previous episode. They kind of like animated kids to look like, like their eyes were bugging out, their mouths were really big, everyone was really like zany. And I felt like that's like exactly what these kids are. And I know that we talked about, this movie feeling like so classic and so timeless, but like these kids are the epitome of 90s children.
Yeah. And I think I'm being a little unfair because there's probably a lot of people listening to this that are like, Laura, you have no soul. This is a innocent vegetarian girl from the 90s. She's just trying to survive. But I just find her so annoying. Like every time she spoke, I was like, please give the mic to Tim.
I was also more of a fan of Tim. I felt like he was like, I liked that he was like really interested in everything that was happening. He was like well-read.
You know what I'm figuring out? I think that when they say like you don't like things because you resonate with them, people always say like, I don't have a nervous energy, but I am a very nervous person and a serial overthinker, and I would be a panicker in this situation. So I think the reasons I hate Gennaro and Lex is because if I had to pick someone to be stuck in a car with, it would be neither of them. I need calm Tim energy. The boy's stuck in a tree and he's listening to the radio. What is he listening? He is relaxed as ever up there. He's like, I'm not a big tree climber, but we'll figure it out. Like if that was Lex, she would have died up.
She would have jumped, yeah, or done something stupid, yeah.
Yeah.
Turned on a flashlight
and the T-Rex would come back. Oh God, pisses me off so much. I can't. Tim was like, turn off the flashlight. She's like, I don't know how to turn off the flashlight. But I also think that would have been me. Like my phone flashlight is always on.
I know. Like I never know how to turn it on. Like if I want to turn it on, but it just goes off.
Dennis is another one where we're supposed to hate him, so it works. I don't think he's one of those characters that we're like, that he's like an unlikable character that we're supposed to like. Like I think that we're just supposed to hate him. I have always hated Newman, so he's just a no for me. Also, a fantastic scene because it's terrifying, but great setup when they talk about this is the seemingly docile dinosaur that could spit poison into you and you go immobile and then it eats you. If I saw this for the first time, I probably wouldn't have thought that was him that was going to happen to, but that scene always visibly disturbed me, but it was a fantastic scene. Also set up for the Jurassic Park 2, if we're thinking about it.
If we were writing it. I thought that was the scariest part of the movie. And maybe this is like a universal thing that like, yeah, of course, Michelle, everyone knows it's the most scary part. But like, I can't even imagine like seeing that movie for the first time in the movie theater in the dark and that it just like pops out and it's like, kind of color expands and it's screaming. It's definitely like the most monster type dinosaur, I think, in the movie.
It's scarier than the T-Rex. T-Rex is kind of like,
oh yeah, by the way, I meant to put this in things that I liked, but it's kind of like a little bit of a plot twist. Like if you were telling a story about a dinosaur, that you would think that the T-Rex would be the automatic bad guy, that she's kind of not.
Yeah.
Like she kind of, saves them in a way at the end. I
Yeah.
appreciated they didn't make it
They
so
gave
basic.
also love that all the that I mean I know they did it for scientific reasons, but love that all the dinosaurs were females.
Yeah.
Yeah, but terrifying. That dinosaur also we need to give her a proper name. I don't. She
What are we gonna
obviously
call
doesn't
her?
have a. I don't know, but she has this like very high pitched laugh that makes her seem innocent. She's like, that's a really bad impression, but it's so scary. And then because I hate like pop up moments when it's just
Like the snake in
he's
Harry
sitting in the
Potter.
car.
Yeah.
Oh God, don't even get me started. But it's again, it's not really something I dislike. I think it's more so like the moments that gave me most fear. I think the scenes that I always like remember the most are like Gennaro getting eaten on the toilet, which is like terrible fear. I am like so
You have
afraid.
a fear of being eaten on the toilet?
Not eaten on a toilet, but like, and it's not the toilet that's the problem in the scene. It's the T-Rex. But like, toilets scare me sometimes. Like you hear these scary stories of like snakes coming out of people's toilets or people who live in New York. Like one of our cousin Erica's friends, shout out to Lauren Hurdy if you're listening to this, she posted this whole story and this TikTok about how she had rats coming out of her toilets from the pipes in New York City. And snakes, rats, right out for me. I know that they are enemies, but
Also foreshadowing for our next movie.
hint, hint, let us know if you know what we're talking about. Yeah, I just feel like I think it's like the two scary combinations. Like we have the T-Rex, and then you're in the middle of the jungle in Costa Rica, and you're telling me that through the pipes something's not sneaking up and hitting Gennaro. I don't know. I have a lot of feelings. Anyone else have fear of toilets?
Well, now I do.
The heated seats will not save you. Just telling you, people. No matter where you are, no matter how it looks, there could be some snakes coming up.
Thanks for that. Thanks for that visual.
You always got to be ready. It's funny that both of us, and I'm curious what our listeners are going to say to us, but I think it's interesting that both of us brought up the ride as such a core memory for us, because the scene where Lex and Tim are in the car and the T-Rex breaks through the top and they have the glass like saving them, that the whole sequence reminded me of an experience of a roller coaster. You're flipped upside down, you hear screams of people around you, there's something mechanical coming at you and you don't know what's going to happen next and you could die, and it's all like the emotions you feel without quote unquote real fear. And in that moment the characters aren't excited, but I thought the effects, and I know this is the what we didn't like section, but that is a really scary scene because it makes you feel like you're in like, I mean, I know that's a very long scene with them getting crushed and there's a lot going on, but it just works so well. I love but I remember like feeling so like fearful of watching that when I was younger.
Yeah, that's kind of the Spielberg signature is, kind of taking what Hitchcock did, which is not always showing you everything and kind of letting your imagination fill in the gaps, but then bringing it to this whole other level with really going a little bit more over the top on the sounds. I felt like especially in this movie, it's, of course we have the John Williams score, which is epic, but also like whoever did like the audio design, I thought was also made this movie.
Yeah, the screams, I genuinely kept thinking throughout this whole movie, the screams just reminded me of being on a roller coaster because they're kid screams and they're so prevalent and there's a lot of them, specifically from Lex.
Speaking of annoying character traits, were you bothered by the, I guess it's an Australian accent from Sam Neill's character, kind of like coming in and out?
Not really.
They're just like, whatever.
I'm like, whatever. Again, I feel like this isn't a movie that I was picking apart as much because it just, it's a movie that I just watch for entertainment and the action. And I'm not like, oh, this doesn't make sense, you know?
Whenever things like that happen, though, I always have to like write
It
some
takes you
kind of
out
like,
of it.
no, it doesn't like completely take me out of it, but I have to like write some kind of like rule in my head as to like why this is happening. And I'm like, all right, so maybe he lived there, or maybe he lived there as a kid. And I think that anyone who like lives somewhere else and then moved, you know, still hasn't. I mean, our family is a great example of this. Our aunts and uncles, and even like mom, sometimes when she gets animated, like a little bit of her accent will come out. So that is the reason that I've written in my head as to why that's happening
Yeah.
in this movie.
I feel like, yeah, I don't have the data to back this up, but I would think that people who lived in other countries and not the US are more interested in dinosaur excavation. I don't know why. I just
Oh,
made that up. Or like had more interesting childhoods instead of
well,
like
yeah, that
being
part,
born in New
yes.
York and you're like, I love dinosaurs. I don't know. Unless
There are rats in my
you were a
toilet.
dinosaur PJ kid. Who knows? All my dinosaur PJ kids, let us know. We want to know. Raise your hands. Ask your parents. Or tell us if you're giving your kids dinosaur chicken nuggets as well. See?
So
It's
bizarre.
everywhere. Dino chicken nuggets from Rainforest Cafe. So many thoughts for the millennials. All right, Michelle. Well, the floor is yours to now air your grievances.
I feel like I'm now embarrassed to like share this because I think the reason that I really don't love this movie is just that I'm being extra sensitive about something. Do you consider this to be an animal movie?
I know what you're saying. I know. The goat.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. So I'll jump right to it. I remembered the goat. Again, another iconic thing from this movie. I did not remember the cow, and I could not. I was so upset. I was so
Mm,
upset, and I kept like thinking in my head, like, okay, they're gonna like move on from this, and it took them so long to move on, and I was just like, I can't do animal movies. I can't
I
like
get it.
I avoid them at all costs. This movie is like kind of an animal movie, but like I even felt bad for the dinosaurs. I
I
can't.
know. The one who, what was the reason that she was sick, by the way? They found
Um,
that out at the end.
no, I don't.
It was,
I was reading on IMDb about this. They never tell exactly like why
I
she
thought
got
she was
sick.
pregnant.
I don't think so, but it's
Yeah.
explains in the book. It has something to do
Okay.
with. I mean, Ellie was onto it. She kind of
Yeah.
she knew it was something that she ate. It had something to do
Okay.
with that.
I get that. The goat is really disturbing because we're like, oh, okay, well, the T-Rex likes hunting and it's not really a hunt if we give it to him. And then we just see the leg pop up on the car. And it's kind of, I mean, it definitely adds some more drama that Lex is a vegetarian and has to, I mean, talk about trauma from this entire experience. But I feel like we could have done without it. It was like
Yeah.
very horrific.
I get it, like, circle of life, and this is what happens in, in nature, but I can't
Nature
like
calls.
I
More toilet jokes.
and I'm not a vegetarian, but I feel like I could very easily be a vegetarian, and I can't let myself like think too much about it. But I was thinking about movies that we watched as kids that had like animals involved in it, and like the two that stand out the most for me are Free Willy and like Homeward Bound. And like I don't have the emotional capacity to like watch those kind of movies. It like anything that has to do with like an animal being harmed, especially like that cow was like so innocent. Like they could not do anything to defend themselves. And that just like that kills me. And I like
Well,
that's not entertainment. I don't want to see
Michelle,
that in my movies.
you should stop giving our boy John Hammond so much respect because
It was his
he's
idea.
responsible. He's responsible. He created the Velociraptors, which could have avoided all of this, and the T-Rex. All I needed to do was just stick to the herbivores. We would
Yeah.
have had a great on. If he only created the herbivores, he would still have guests. He wouldn't need to have all this security. They would be able to roam as they want. They wouldn't need to be bringing in goats off the island, and all would be well. And we wouldn't have a movie. So,
And then we'd have space for a rom-com.
exactly. I think that's why you like Star Wars movies. I mean, there's a lot of killings. There's like village killings, which is like terrifying, but they don't really have too many animal moments.
Yeah, and I
Or
think
so I
also
remember.
like Star Wars is, you know, like a fantasy world, so I'm
Yeah.
able to kind of like separate that as
Yeah.
like we have, you know, we have real cows in our
I
world, even though
know.
we don't have dinosaurs. But that was incredibly upsetting for me. That aside, you know, when I said to you like I'm glad that I didn't, you know, buy this movie, I think that if I had the connection of watching this movie a bunch when I was a kid, I totally get the nostalgia factor for other people. And I am almost like jealous in a way. Like I wish that I could have that appreciation that everyone else has because it is such, like you said, like a cultural moment. But because I don't have that, I'm just looking at this movie as me watching this as an adult and it not being a subject matter that I'm particularly interested in. I
Yeah.
did not have dinosaur pajamas.
What about Dino Nuggets?
I
Coming
don't,
off of your animal rant.
yeah, I don't think
You
I've
do
ever
eat
had,
chicken though.
yeah, I
So
eat chicken. I was really like digging to find things that I was connecting to.
yeah.
So I guess all I can say is this is a great movie. I very much appreciate what Spielberg did to create it. I think this movie is iconic. It deserves all the accolades. It's just it's not my thing.
I wouldn't consider this a comfort movie for me. It's a movie that I kind of fall on to watch at random points in time, whether it's on or I do want to see this on the big screen at
I
some
was just
point.
gonna say
I
I
think
could
this
be
would be a
talked
fun
into
one to
that.
see.
Yeah.
I think this would be a fun one to see at the drive-in. Okay, Michelle. So I know you've aired your grievances, but let's get into your favorite scene from this movie, paired with your favorite line.
I have two favorite scenes and they're kind of connected. I love the scene when Tim is stuck in the Jeep up in the tree and that whole sequence of getting him down. I felt like it was a that's my speed. It was like a combination of like there's a little bit of adventure and you know a little bit of suspense, but also like some comedy mixed in there. I did like, even though it was cheesy, I like the line that Tim said when they finally like crashed to the bottom, and I think he said something like,
Well, we're back in the car again.
At least you're out of the tree.
I thought that was
Yeah.
cute. And the other scene that I really loved, especially from an artistic perspective, was when Sam Neill's character and the two kids were sitting in the tree and watching the nice dinosaurs walk by the herbivores. I felt like that was a really peaceful setting. It was beautiful. I would sit up in that tree and yeah, again, in the Michelle rewrite, there would have been a lot more of that. And everyone would have
Michelle.
fallen asleep.
Michelle wants a peaceful T-Rex movie. Someone write it for her because she needs it. I'm surprised you I'm trying to think of what else would be your speed. Yeah, a lot of other things are like you don't like rain.
I don't
You
like
like
dirt.
peaceful sunrise. Yeah, you definitely there's a lot of muddy moments
I don't like
Michelle
helicopters.
would not be signed up for any of these adventures.
Favorite lines, I liked the exchange of the when Ian Malcolm says,
God creates dinosaurs. God destroys dinosaurs. God creates man. Man destroys God. Man creates dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs eat man. Woman inherits the earth.
I mean, like we mentioned that this isn't really a, screenplay heavy movie. I mean, it's a great story, but I don't think that like the line writing is like, anything special, but that little section I thought was great.
I hinted at this earlier, and for our listeners who have listened to most seasons by now, you know that I'm an emotional one. And I always look for the sad moments, unlike Michelle. And I really love the scene where Ellie is tending to the sick dinosaur. And I know it's really sad, but I love how overcome she is with emotion in that scene. I think it's just really good acting, and it's just a really tender moment. And in a weird way, because it's someone who's dying, but it's there feels like there's peace to it, and it's right before the storm is coming. I mean, they do such a great job of like the dramatization of everything exploding after that, just as the storm is starting. And I think we get these like couple minutes of just nurturing and peace with her, with this beautiful animal that she's studied her entire life, which I just think is really cool.
If she was submitting herself for an Oscar, that would be the scene I would submit. She
so
really
believable.
shines there. Yeah, she is really believable. She's definitely not like, I know I said earlier, like how much I love like kind of when characters are like so over the top and not believable, but her character on the other end of that spectrum, I also love when in movies characters are like so believable and so relatable. And I felt like that was her in this movie. She seemed like so much like a real person.
Yeah, she really did. I think for favorite line, I didn't write down as many, but I have to agree with you. And also just because it's from Malcolm, he delivered it so well. I think if it was anyone else, I mean, it wouldn't make sense because no one else would say that, but I love the Ellie top off at the end. Girl power. Female dinosaur power in this movie. We love to see it. I would say I was surprised at the number of food moments in this movie. I thought there were going to be none. What does this movie make you want to eat?
Oh,
Definitely not meat.
Not meat. I think the number one thing I wanted to eat after watching this movie was tropical fruits, especially maybe like a papaya.
Yum. Yeah, I know they didn't really show too many fruit trees on the island, but they had to have been somewhere. Yeah.
There's a scene where like Dennis in the beginning, he's at that like kind of outdoor restaurant, and he definitely has like a plate with some fruits, some tropical fruit on it. And I imagine that could have been something that you could order at that window. And I don't know, this is definitely something that I have in my head, and I can't remember if I actually felt this way, or if it was just something that everyone kept telling me. But our family went to Jamaica. This is before you were born, Laura. But I remember like mom and dad saying that like, like the fruit there tasted like so much better than everywhere else, especially like the bananas. So I feel like just that area of the world, Costa Rica, I think of, they must have the best fruit there.
Yeah. Oh, and I love a fruit bowl.
There was a champagne sighting. I had to point
There
that
was a champagne sighting, but not. I feel like not really your scene because Ellie's very dusty and they're drinking out of. It's I don't know. It just doesn't really seem like, and it's kind of like they're cheersing to their doom. So, but it was good. I liked it. There has to be a champagne moment in every movie. Champagne problem scenes.
Yes.
The food did not look appetizing. That he said they had this like gourmet chef, but when he did say, I think he says Chilean sea bass, it made me want like a fancy crudo dish. And there was definitely some good fish, and probably finished for dessert like a nice bowl of fruit. Always want ice cream. Can we not have as big as buckets? He said it's melting and his his grandchildren are dying and he's eating ice cream. He's having an ice cream social.
Yes.
While they're hiding from T-Rex.
I had some problems with the ice cream scene. Back to the grievances. I didn't say enough bad things. I do always want ice cream, but I felt like this was not this ice cream was not portrayed in the best light. Like literally,
this scene really pissed me off.
It was boring.
Honestly.
It was boring ice cream in boring containers. Like for me, ice cream, if it's coming out of a container, it either has to be well designed or just like a classic plain white with nothing on it. Those containers, I remember those like from the 90s and beyond. I think they were also like in the 2000s. It was like that gray with a kind of like a maroon, like wavy line on it. Like who designed those and decided to put ice cream in them?
He seemed like he had them in bulk because it was like the stock of ice cream in the freezer. But I was more so mad that everyone was dying and this is not the time for an ice cream social. And Ellie was kind of chill about it. She's like, we have loved ones who are dying out there and you're eating ice cream, but give me a spoon. Like, come on. You guys are all warm inside in your dry, unmuddy t-shirts having an ice cream social.
I bet there's more to that scene than I bet if we really unpacked it.
I think they kind of jumped to it because there wasn't any dialogue of her getting back and mulling over the situation. So I think that they probably had at it with a lot of emotion and they needed some sugar to take off the edge. Cream break. So we'll give them a break.
We have one more big food item that I feel like represents this entire movie. And I don't know how we haven't brought it up yet.
Hold on, let me think about it. A candy bar?
No.
What else do they eat?
In the Jeep, it has to do with your favorite character, Lex. There's an iconic moment in the movie where she's holding something.
I don't remember this.
The green jello.
But I don't remember.
You don't know about I feel like the green jello. Like
watching the same scene.
When I think of Jurassic Park, I think of green jello.
I need to look this up right now. How did I not? Did they like comment on it? Did they talk about it?
It jiggles, and that's how they know that the T-Rex is coming.
Oh my God, I don't remember this. I'm looking this up right now. Oh, okay. I thought you were saying she's not in the Jeep. It's when she's in the kitchen because she's like starving.
Oh. I'm sorry. I was mixing up two scenes.
We need to.
I should be fired from this podcast.
Okay,
because I don't know what I'm talking about.
You should not. But also, like, back to your comment about them being poster children for '90s commercials. Like, tell me this is not a commercial for Jello. Green Jello. Did Jello come out with a green Jello? Green Jurassic Park product. Please tell me they did this, because if not, okay, so they have a Jello play rescue and build kit where it's like you make Jello. Oh, okay, so they did it for Jurassic World's classic. We'll have to do some research if in the 90s they also came out with a green Jello product. But it looks like they did a promotion for Jurassic Worlds with Jello, and you like built a car, like a play and save out of they kind of look like Legos, and it's out of Jello, and it's like to get you away from the dinosaur.
A Jello getaway car. Okay.
Jello getaway car, bringing it into the kids' lunch boxes. So, okay, so I have an exciting idea for our dinner party segment. We're not going to really call it a dinner party because I guess we've had some children at our dinner party, but I think we've talked a lot about placing the most different people in one circumstance together, which I think is just like what works so well with this movie. And that's really the idea behind our dinner party scenes. We love randomness and putting completely different people together at a table. But I think I'm envisioning this as, since this is kind of like our drive-in series in addition to Spielberg, if we were going to see this in a drive-in theater and we were in the Jurassic cars, like the Jurassic cars,
Jeep? Okay.
The Jeeps, but we're going to pick a combination of anyone from the movie. It doesn't have to be the people who are necessarily in the Jeeps. It could be anyone that you were introduced to throughout the course of the movie. We're going to put 3 people in a Jeep, and they're doing like a dine and drive.
Okay. What
menu are you making? And it has to appeal to all of them. You can't give like one person this food and one person the other. It has to be appealing to the entire car, but they're going to watch the movie that they're in a drive-in in the Jurassic car, and it's like drive-in theater, but with like a dinner involved.
Okay.
You know, they do like dinner theaters, but we're making it a drive-in theater.
Okay. So we have access to a full menu. We're not limited to just popcorn and candy.
The Jeeps are pretty spacious. Let's kind of imagine it as like we'll give them a TV dinner stand.
Like a tray.
They didn't have seatbelts, but they definitely had like a built-in tray. So
like on an airplane. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
A little bit more room.
How are we are we doing this team, or are we doing each of us do our
I think we do a team one for this one. There's a lot of characters in this movie, but there's not like a huge one. So I'll pick one first.
Okay.
I'm going to go with an unassuming character who really had more of like, not really a cameo because I don't know if this actor was famous, but we're introduced to him right at the beginning. And he is the man who's working in cahoots with Dennis. And he shows up with the $750,000. I don't know why I remember that amount, but I do. We don't know much about him other than that he's a criminal and he's doing something with dinosaur embryos. I assume he's selling them. So we have to infer who this smooth criminal is.
I need to remind myself who this character looks like before we proceed, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to properly.
I don't know if this was too off the cuff.
No. I like this.
I think his last name is Dodgson.
Oh, Dodson. Okay.
I'm gonna watch it to read.
Okay.
He's in like the most like I have never been to Costa Rica outfit. It's very like a Narcos look. Doesn't he kind of look like he could be Ryan Gosling until he takes off his hat?
So Dodson is our first person in the Jeep.
Okay.
Mine's an easy one. I'm gonna go with just to piss you off. I'm gonna go with Lex.
Oh, God. All right, I really don't want to be in this car. I'm trying to pick someone who like doesn't have any association with the two of them. That was maybe unassuming. What about the dinosaur that kills Dennis?
The scary one?
Yes.
Oh man.
She's behaving. She's actually there, but she's not eating because
she's been fed. Okay,
she's been fed. So she's just along for the ride.
I'm already feeling like so much tension in this car because Dodson was so like nervous about all of this, and now he knows that his car mate, his Jeep mate, like ate his friend. So,
but at the same time, like maybe he's having a conversation with her where he's like, listen, do you know where that 750 is? Because I might want to get that back. And also, you know where the embryos are.
This could be the start to Jurassic Park too. This car, like,
this is great.
Lex is like, you know what? I'm really good with computers. If you need me, I can help out on this expedition. And Dodson's like, yo,
we're gonna
whatever
track
that dinosaur
this
is.
can.
Yeah.
This is a great combo of people. So we're giving ourselves a little bit of a layup because we don't have to feed the dinosaur. We need to find out what the breed is. And apparently we're assuming that, I think that we're just throwing in another curveball that the dinosaurs can actually talk because her and Dodson need to be
able to communicate.
Be scheming. They need to be able to, unless they do the weird, scary laugh that she does. But she's been fed, so she's hanging out. She's watching herself in the movie. She's a little confused.
All right, I need to know, like, what's the seating situation? So, or do we have two people in the front and one in the back, or two in the back and one in the front, and who's sitting where? This is important.
You know what I think? I think that all three of them are in the back because they don't want any blockage. Like it's
Okay.
Have you ever been at a drive-in and you're in the back seat?
Yeah.
Work.
Awful.
I mean, it
yeah.
just doesn't work. That's why when we've gone a couple times, we've taken two separate cars.
Yep.
Who wants to be sitting in the back? So I think that the dinosaur's in the middle, and Dodgson's on the left, and Lex is on the right. The seats are down in the front.
Okay.
And also, it's important because there's something with the car where like the seats need to be down in order for the tray tables to fold out.
Okay.
It gives them a little bit more room. We can move them up a little bit. I'm getting a little detail.
Is there a sunroof? Because I could see the dinosaur wanting to kind of like pop its head up every once in a while just to like.
I think that we see the glass ceiling break. I think it probably easily pops out. That's not like a feature that Hammond thought through very well, in addition to the cars being able to open the doors while they're on the ride. So we're just going to pop the ceiling out so that if the dinosaur wants some air, it can. For the meal, this is a tricky one because we know Lex is vegetarian, so we got to do a vegetarian meal. We know nothing about Dodgson's dietary restrictions, but I could see him being a GF guy.
Yes, definitely.
Definitely gluten-free.
We need the allergy-free menu here.
We need an allergy-free menu. No meats, no wheat. So I think that as an app, because we can't even do fish for her. So I don't know. This is a tricky one. I'm literally just thinking of tropical fruits.
Yeah. How about some like fried plantains?
Ooh, fancy. And what about like we could do like, let's assume in the 90s like Beyond Meat like wasn't a thing, but what about some like, am I gonna pronounce this right? Like himka? It's like
Yeah.
Like I
What
don't
is
know.
it? I don't know if it's a fruit or if it's a vegetable, but it's like a white, flavorless. I'd say it has the same consistency. It has the same consistency as a pear, right?
I don't know. I've literally never. I've
had himka or jimka, whatever.
But I thought
fries
it's in,
before.
I thought it's in like most like vegetarian meals because it's a good. You know, there's like certain like I feel like oyster mushrooms are not a thing, but you know they use certain vegetables because they like almost imitate what it would be like to have like a burger or things like that. And I think that's used a lot as like a meat alternative, like a mouthfeel. So maybe it's like a vegetable himka like saute situation. Also some fried plantains with like a nice dipping sauce.
Yes, I was thinking a dipping sauce.
Yeah, that could be really good. And also, fried plantains are great because it almost could be like a movie snack. Like you don't, but also could be a meal. You know, we make them a little bit more, not like too fried. Like you still want a little bit of like meat on it. So not physical meat, but so that it's a little bit more filling. And then I think I can't get dinosaur nuggets out of my head. So we're going to do vegetarian dino nuggets.
Ugh.
So it's like a breaded,
but not bread. It has to be gluten-free.
Oh, so gluten-free bread. This is the worst. I would never want to be in this vehicle.
I can see the dinosaur being really judgy. Be like, just eat a person.
You know, the dinosaur is like,
what is wrong with you?
Is definitely not hungry because the food that they're eating, like at least Dennis was eating good. Like he had his candy, he had a full meal off the island. Like she was eating good that night. Yeah, but I like gluten-free breaded. I think that they're all in the shape of herbivores because Lex has PTSD from all of the other dinosaurs. She only likes the plant-eating ones, so they have to be shaped like the herbivores. And what would they be filled with? Like what? You know what we could do? Okay, I have a good alternative.
Okay,
we are going to assume because they were not blessed with the greatest options for food, so he can't eat gluten. They can eat cheese though. Weirdly, both of them are fine with cheese. So what about like dino mozzarella sticks?
Gluten-free though.
Gluten-free. So gluten-free.
Yeah.
I feel like mozzarella is not. easy to come by, but they have their sources. If
That sounds good.
They can ship some good ice cream on the island. They could get some good mutts. I think that the chef whipped up some homemade gluten-free mozzarella sticks. I'm thinking of things that are easy to like dip,
It's good car food. Yeah.
Yeah. And for dessert, I feel like I've been taking over this menu. So what are you thinking?
I'm thinking jello, but
I'm thinking jello. I'm also thinking
or a big tub of ice cream in a boring container.
Like a candy bar. It's a good movie snack. Yeah.
Oh, but also like an ode to Dennis.
Yeah. Our boy Dennis. Dennis's candy bars.
Dennis's candy bars, yeah.
Dennis's candy bars. Because I feel like if Jurassic Park was putting together these like meal kits for their visitors, they would put it in like a branded Jurassic Park box. And these are all things. It would be like a hot meal, like an airplane meal.
Yeah.
But like it would come with all these, like the candy bar would be wrapped, like kind of like you get your Biscoff cookies on the airplanes.
All right. I feel like if we're not going to include green jello in this meal.
No, I think green jello should go in there as well.
It'll just be like a little snack pack.
Yeah.
But I was thinking that I could see Lexi ordering one of those like obnoxious souvenir style drinks.
Yes.
Like at Disney, they have these like glow cubes that they put in drinks in. And when I've been there with our nieces and nephew, like they sometimes get them, and now Jimmy has started ordering them like just for himself. So he'll get like a gin and tonic and then request a glow. So we now have a collection of glow cubes. So I'm picturing something like a non-alcoholic, like a mocktail that comes with glow cubes for Lex.
I gotta look up what like in the 90s, what was like the hot juice box? Like what was like
Ecto Cooler.
I don't even know what that is. I'm thinking, was Kool-Aid not?
No, Kool-Aid was.
Kool-Aid was a thing.
Yeah.
I could see a Kool-Aid because it's like the red of the Jurassic Park and maybe like light up green cubes.
I like this. Would Dodson get an alcoholic drink, or would he just have the same thing as Lex?
I feel like he has like a stiff, like bourbon or something. But he's not really like I don't know. I can't read him. We didn't get him long enough for me to be able to read his drink order.
Yeah, I feel like he would order a beer and then not drink it.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe just like a Miller High Life. I think if I had to be in this situation, I would not want any of these things, maybe besides the fried plantains. And
you don't want the Himka.
I would just stick to a good old popcorn candy, soda pop in a souvenir cup.
Yes.
We are continuing with the Summer of Spielberg series next week. We hinted that it will be involving snakes.
It's another adventure film. It involves another iconic actor who I think will be making the first appearance in a Film to Table podcast episode. Join us next week as we talk about Raiders of the Lost Ark.
It's been a long episode, folks.
We'll see you next week.